So on this talk, I'll be talking about mobile app development. I'm a software engineer from IBM. So any mobile developers here?
Good.
Wow, awesome. And so on this talk, I'd like to share you guys our experience with mobile app development and also integrating it with a scalable cloud architecture. So IBM Developer is a developer portal that contains code patterns, blogs, tutorials, and what we want to do is we provide these developer content in fast and compact form. So we made a mobile app. The app offers a chatbot interface for asking questions that aims to evolve into a useful assistant for finding content that may help a developer learn faster and connect with experts. And so here we have like our own architecture. We chose to have multiple microservices, and that made our lives much easier to maintain all these services and push more code frequently. And so here are some technologies we used. So Kubernetes, it's an open source system for automating deployment, scaling, and manage of containerized applications. So it makes it easier for you to develop and deploy your application, especially if it involves microservices. So Watson Assistant, it's an IBM cloud service for building conversational interface in your application. We use this one for our chatbot interface. And also Elasticsearch, it's also open source, a highly scalable open source full text search and analytics engine. It's useful for our application to like search through all our contents. And yeah, since we deal with searching through our large number of contents. And also RabbitMQ and Redis, we use this one to we used RabbitMQ as a messaging queue to store and queue our requests from the mobile app to our backend. And Redis is to store our results. And so what I'd like to share you guys is things to consider in mobile app. So design, everyone starts off with an idea in mind of what we want to build. And we think of the user interface, the user experience, and it doesn't just end there. We need to visualize what are the requirements for app to work. And do you need a backend for it? How will you architect it? And where will it be pushed or deployed? So one useful tool we used is Sketch. It's a design toolkit application. We use them to wireframe our app and visualize our app. And next one is native web hybrid. So we need to choose what kind of development method we want. So for native apps, we have Java or Kotlin. And for iOS apps, we have Swift. And there's also this thing called hybrid. So hybrid, React Native, and so hybrid, React Native, it's like you code in JavaScript and you could deploy it multiple platforms like iOS, Android, Windows Phone, and you all have one code base. And Cordova, this one is the hybrid app. So it's a web view, and you package all the web stuff there, and you could deploy it in the appropriate app store, like App Store for iOS and Play Store for Android. And for the back end, we'd have to consider our communication interface from our mobile app to the back end. So for us, we use REST APIs that's also integrated with messaging queue. So we have to make it really scalable since our app jumps through many hoops like Watson Assistant and Elasticsearch, and it helps us scale our app easily. And next thing is CI/CD. We use Jenkins or Travis CI. It's useful to keep things clean, and less things are broken if we implement CI/CD. And also, one thing to consider is load test before deploying to production. So you need to make sure that your requests from your mobile app to your backend can handle all the loads from all the users, especially when your user base grows. And monitoring, we use logDNA, and one open source alternative is the Elk stack. It's useful to keep track of what's happening in your app or your backend. And also iterate. So you need to plan for your future, fix bugs, and how you'll handle them, and also ask for user feedback. And if your app is not accessible, make it more accessible. And last but not the least, it should not be mentioned, but worth mentioning, of course, version control system. And things we learned or could have done better. So what we did with our mobile app is we coded it in native. For Android, we used Java, and iOS, we used Swift. And we could have done it in one source code using React Native, since what we'll end up is we have one code base. So fewer issues means we have similar issues for iOS and Android instead of having different ones, since we have two different code bases. And also, one things we learned is CI/CD makes development easier. So code changes are more frequently deployed, and it's quick deployment of application in multiple environments to staging, dev, and production. And also, one thing we used is managed services. It can be cost effective and saves you time. So managed databases, infrastructure, platforms. We used managed services for our RabbitMQ and Redis instances. And also a managed Kubernetes service. And also store guidelines. So familiarize yourself with App Store and Play Store guidelines if you're putting your app there. And thank you. And if you want to learn more, go to IBM developer website, and yeah.